You're about to make a big decision. Should you invest in a company? You start thinking about the brand. You love their commercials. You use their products. You've seen their CEO on social media. So it must be a good investment, right? What if I told you that's not analysis? That's substitution. And it's tricking your brain into feeling confident while skipping the hard work. This is the substitution trap. The substitution trap happens when your brain unconsciously swaps a hard question for an easier one. Instead of answering, is this a good investment? You answer, do I like this company? It feels like the same thing, but it's not. This glitch in our mental wiring shows up constantly, especially in business, leadership, and high-stakes decisions. Let me give you a few examples, and I want you to notice the pattern. First, investing. The real question should be, what do the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow tell us? But instead, we often ask ourselves, how do I feel about the brand? Second, medical or technical decisions. The real question should be, what are the risks, benefits, and probabilities of this procedure or strategy? But instead, we go with, do I trust this expert? Third, in leadership, when evaluating recommendation, we should be asking, is this logically sound and backed by evidence? But what we actually assess is, did the presenter sound confident? In each case, we skip the hard analysis and answer a much easier, more comfortable question instead. These shortcuts feel rational, but they're just easier. And our brains love easy. To be clear, I'm not saying we're lazy. I'm saying our brains are actually wired to do this, to prefer fast answers over perfect ones. It's not a character flaw, it's neuroscience. I made a video that breaks this down in more detail, and it's part of a full playlist that covers all the hidden traps like this one. If you're curious about how these mental shortcuts really work, check out the Decision Trap playlist. You can find the link in the comments, or it'll pop up on the screen at the end of this video. Now here's the scary part. This substitution trap, you rarely notice it's happening. Your brain never says, hey, this is hard, let me simplify. It just delivers an answer, fast, fluent, confident. So you move on, thinking you've done the real analysis. Substitution doesn't just make us wrong, it makes us confidently wrong. You feel certain, you express your view with conviction, you make the call, all without ever confronting the actual question. Step 1 of the decision-making framework is define the opportunity and objectives. Substitution starts before the analysis. It starts with the question you're trying to answer. Step 1 forces you to slow down and ask, what problem are we actually trying to solve? Instead of reacting to the first thing that feels urgent or obvious, it guides you to clarify the real objective. When you define the decision clearly from the start, you create guardrails. Guardrails that prevent your brain from wandering off and answering the wrong question just because it's easier. Here are 4 more tips for avoiding the substitution trap. 1. Identify the key drivers. Ask, what specific factors will actually determine success or failure here? This helps anchor your thinking to real-world outcomes and keeps you from getting distracted by how you feel about the brand, the person, or the story. 2. Ask for the assumptions. Don't just ask for the logic, ask what assumptions are you making? This one question surfaces blind spots, clarifies risks, and forces the team to back up their thinking. 3. Do the economic analysis. When possible, run the numbers. Force yourself to build a simple ROI model or payback analysis. You'd be surprised how often feelings fall apart when you do the math. 4. Show your work. Step 7 of the decision-making framework is all about this. Writing down your decision-making process, your logic, evidence, trade-offs, forces you to slow down and make it easier to catch where you might be substituting intuition for analysis. The substitution trap is one of the sneakiest cognitive biases out there. It lets you feel smart without thinking deeply. But once you see it, you can stop it. You can slow down, ask better questions, and make decisions that actually hold up under scrutiny. Because the quality of your thinking is the quality of your leadership. And great leadership doesn't come from having all the answers, it comes from asking the right questions and refusing to settle for the easy ones.